Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. I'm Kaitlyn Neukam, and today we are joined by Danni Schaust. You do a lot of different things, so I'd love for you to introduce yourself and kind of tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on this morning. So I have been doing a lot of things in my career so far. So I am from Dubois County. I moved back about a year ago from Indianapolis. And in the past 15 years, I've been working on recycling, sustainability, climate change, all of these different things. And when I made the choice to move back with my husband, I realized that there was a lot of opportunity here. So I run a super small business called Dharma with Danni, doing a lot of that sustainability consulting and also some wellness and yoga work. Really what I want to talk about today is my work with Earth Charter Indiana and our new community group, Green Drinks 812.
Perfect. So what is Earth Charter? What's like, again, so you have these titles for these groups and organizations, which people might read as one thing because, of course, we just don't know and it's relatively new. So what is Earth Charter?
Yeah, so Earth Charter Indiana is a statewide nonprofit focused on an intergenerational approach to climate change. So they work with youth all the way down in elementary school up to folks that are nearing becoming ancestors is the nice way I'd like to say that.
Of course, yeah. So it's Earth Charter is a way for people of all ages, all backgrounds, all ethnicities to kind of get involved in climate where maybe groups are a little more, I don't want to say aggravated, but more active or proactive on things. And what makes this different from any of the other groups out there for climate change and things?
Yeah, so I'd say for me what makes Earth Charter different is that they really are focused on empowering people where they are. So I am the Earth Charter Dubois County Resiliency Coordinator. Basically, my job is to get our county to talk about these issues, to start taking action on them at the community level, encouraging the government to take some steps, and just helping people in our community get plugged in to take action, get educated if they're open to that, and just plug people in, build some community around these issues.
Yes, and Earth Charter, as we kind of talked about before the cameras started, that is a nonprofit, right? Or it's like a separate entity.
Yeah, so Earth Charter Indiana is a statewide nonprofit organization. So they hire coordinators like myself that live directly in the communities that they serve. So what I love about it is that it's not a top-down approach, right? They're not coming in from the big city and saying, hey, y'all, you need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
They're basically saying, hey, you already live there. You're educated and care about these issues. What does your community need? Do you want to help your community take that next step with our support?
Yeah, so before we move on to your work with Earth Charter and specifically Green Drinks, what is, like, if people wanted to learn more about Earth Charter or try to get involved in some way, shape, or form, what's the best way that they can kind of learn more?
Yeah, so Earth Charter, of course, has a website. If you Google Earth Charter Indiana, their website will come up. They're very active on social media. They have a great e-newsletter. So lots of ways to get plugged in. However you get news, they're probably getting it to you in that way. They're on TikTok.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, again,
gotta be.
Social media has been a blessing and curse in some ways.
Sure.
But, I mean, if you're not on Facebook, if you're not on all the other things, you don't count as a entity or a small business anymore these days. So it's kind of a tricky balance for sure. But with your work with Earth Charter, you have created a community group that I'd love to hear more about.
Yeah, so about 2 months ago, in February, we launched Green Drinks 812. So we're really focused on getting Dubois County engaged, but trying to encourage the other counties to work with us, work together, and start to take action on different environmental issues that folks care about. So my passion is really to get our county working towards a climate action plan and implementing that. But I'm trying to meet people where they are, and if they want to learn about native plants and how to garden, and if they want to talk about more activist type things as well, we have space for all of that. It's an informal group, it's nonpartisan, you don't have to pay any membership to attend, and I'm just really loving the folks that are showing up and asking great questions.
Yes,
So.
and I had the opportunity to come to this past meeting. I was invited by Mark Nowatarski that came and talked on our show, and it's just you guys make it such a good vibe of a place. You just hang out and talk about some things, and it's very climate active. And again, the group leads the way that this goes. So. Right now, you guys are kind of in the preliminary stages of figuring out what your mission is and where you're gonna head in the next few months. So it's definitely a good forming group for sure, and not a herbal drink type organization or company that people may associate with the name.
Yep. So Green Drinks is actually an international organization. They've been around since 2007, 2008, something like that, and they have this whole framework where any person in anywhere in the world can say, I want to start a community group that talks about environmental conservation, climate change issues. And so when Mark and I were talking about like, how do we start to get the community here talking about these things, we realized, oh, we've got a perfect vehicle for that.
Yes.
Green Drinks. So people think it's like green herbal drinks or adult beverages only. We do typically meet at places where you can purchase adult beverages, but we are trying to keep it open to youth as well. So we're always trying to find places where folks that aren't of legal drinking age can participate as well.
Yes, and I mean your hopes are to meet up in various places around the community that'll help host the events. So
Exactly.
it's not only about getting folks out for talking about these green topics, but also just see the community that we live in.
Exactly. It's a great way for us to support local small businesses and bring them some business on a slower day of the week, typically.
Yes.
So our meetings are the third Tuesday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And so we love to go to a local business, local restaurant and say, hey, we want to bring our group in. We know you're kind of slow that day probably anyway. You know, Tuesday's not a big going out night in Dubois County.
Yeah, tends to not be.
Typically not.
Yes. So we have the next meeting coming up, correct?
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
Tuesday, May 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. We're still nailing down the details of the location and the speaker, but by the time this airs, I'm sure we'll have info on that. So really excited. We're going to have our first speaker. The first 3 meetings I've really been sort of planning, getting organized, building a mass group of people actually showing up to these meetings, which is great. And so really in May, we're going to start to do some actual programming. We're planning some fun social events, possibly at some local baseball stadium. Yeah, so lots of fun stuff coming up this year.
Yes, and again, to stress, like the group is hopefully going to continue doing great work and also bringing events to the community and bringing all kinds of things that involve all types of ages.
Yes, yeah. So our goal is really to get people, like I said, meet them where they are in terms of what they care about environmentally, and to help them plug in to find ways they can get active in working on the environment. So whether that's making some lifestyle choices in their home, whether that's going out and picking invasive weeds out of a local park, or really advocating for something like a climate action plan, I want to help people figure out how do they get plugged in, what are the steps they need to take, and then get them on their way.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit helps in this type of circumstance, finding a solution to this problem. And although doing a bunch of things by yourself can make an impact, sometimes it's better for people to have a community where they can go express their concerns, go get more help, and things like that. So this is essentially creating a climate action friendly or anything climate related group in our area.
Exactly. Like I know I cannot individually solve the climate crisis, and so I'm doing my work, but I want to empower other folks to figure out like what's their climate action lane. Maybe they really want to educate youth about these issues and help them feel empowered to take action. So that's what we're about. We're just trying to get people involved and have it be fun too.
Yes, all empowering things, I'm sure. So Green Drinks in itself, or actually what I was gonna say is if someone is a bit hesitant to come out and join the groups, or they're kind of scared of meeting new people or anything like that, taking the first step, what's something that you kind of want to reach out and say to them, or just to calm some nerves per se?
Yeah, so I'd say if you're on the fence, you want to come but you're unsure, know that we are very welcome. You don't have to have any knowledge about climate change or environmental issues. You just have to come with an open mind, an open spirit, and know that we welcome you and will help you learn whatever you want to learn.
Yes, and I think from my first meeting a few weeks ago, I think the main thing I took away from it that was quite unique compared to other community group meetings that I've attended was that the meeting started off with something special, and I'd love to hear why we do those things.
Yeah, so every meeting or group that I facilitate, I will do a grounding or embodiment exercise, basically some breath work and kind of getting people to slow down. We've got crazy busy lives, and I want people to really be present and be wherever they are. And so we did a kind of grounding exercise where we did some breath work, and we just slowed down so everyone could really take a minute to drop in, calm their nervous systems down, and then really be present for the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't need like a quick brain refresh during the day? But
Absolutely.
That was such a unique staple to start off the meeting with. Again, being from around here, I'm not used to something like that. But it was a good way to reset and get everybody in the right headspace for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. The other thing that we do at every meeting is we try to encourage new folks or newer folks to meet each other. Mm-hmm. So every meeting that we've had a little 5-minute prompt, meet your neighbor kind of thing, where we encourage folks to find someone in the room they don't know or don't know well, and then ask them a question. So our last meeting, I think we said, what's your favorite natural place to go hiking or exploring? And it was a great conversation. It was only 5 minutes, but built some new connections. And so that's really what this is about too, is like building that community and connecting folks here to each other that may not know each other.
Yeah, all good things for sure. Well, Danni, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to reiterate to our lovely viewers, or anything that's important before we let you go here?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention a little bit more about green drinks, or actually about Earth Charter, excuse me. Green drinks, next meeting, right, is Tuesday, May 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. But Earth Charter Indiana is a really cool opportunity this summer for youth. Any Indiana young person age 6 to 18 is eligible to participate in their climate camps. So they have 5 camps this summer. They've got a beginner's climate camp. They've got a policy camp for kids that are like really passionate about government and getting policy passed. They have a public transportation camp. So that'll be super fun. And then they have an art camp, and there's one other one I'm not thinking of at the moment. They have 5 camps. They are hosted in the central Indiana region, but any student is eligible to apply and participate. They've got full and partial scholarships available if finances are an issue. And they also offer Spanish-English translation at registration and check-in. So
very neat.
Super cool.
Super inclusive as well. I mean, again,
Exactly.
It's not like little old Dubois County, but again, Earth Charter and Green Drinks is making a statement here in Dubois County and creating some hopeful good change. I mean, and again, it's all about community involvement and all the education that comes along with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Danni, for joining us today.
Me.
It's been a pleasure. And again, we kind of got like a preliminary talk with Mark a few weeks ago, but I have been overjoyed to hear about all of the good things that are happening.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
Hope to see some of you soon.
Yes, exactly. Come visit Danni. She's tremendous. So we look forward to seeing even more of you in the community.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
And thank you so much at home for watching. This has been 18 WJTS in.form. Again, if you want more information about Earth Charter Indiana or Green Drinks 812, be sure to use your internet as a great resource to learn more as information becomes available. And we are local people watching local people.